Let's take a look at some fundamental footwork from an Okinawan karate perspective. In particular, let's look at something called the slip step. A slip step is any movement forward, backward, or laterally in which the feet don't cross. In general, a common slip step would be to move forward, the lead foot moves forward. To move backward, the back foot moves forward. And you can see to the left or to the right, the foot on that side is the first to initiate the movement. There is a general misunderstanding of the purpose of the footwork from a tactical standpoint. Here, tactical, I mean that we have a strategy when engaging another person that's not just a fight by the numbers strategy. Now, most of Okinawan karate evolved as a reaction to random assault. And in a random assault, we have no idea what the assailant could do, what any assailant could do. An assailant could come at me with a punch. An assailant could come at me with a push, or a grab of some type, or some type of grappling move in which I'm locked up with this individual. I need to come up with some intelligent response that is not going to be a fight by the numbers response. If he comes at me with the punch and I decide I need to get off to the side and strike, these types of reactions can be workable if you're practicing them over and over again, but often they take years to be able to pull out. We understand that in Okinawan karate, the footwork is our most primary means of conveyance that sets us up to move away from into a safety position and or allow us to be able to strike back again. So, if given an opportunity to react to somebody purely from a stance perspective, let's say it's against a punch again. Let's just watch the punch comes out. Let's say, given the opportunity, I would have 4 possible responses here utilizing a slip step. I could slip step backwards and block if necessary. Of course, if it be necessary, I could slip step off to the right side. And I could slip step off to the left side, or I could really take my chances and go right into this individual. Now, from a tactical standpoint, only one of those 4 is an ideal. You could be equipped to deal with your opponent from any one of those 4 positions, but only one of those 4, from an Okinawan karate standpoint, is considered the ideal response. Going head-to-head becomes a problem. I'm right inside all of his best techniques. He throws, and now anything can happen. He might throw strikes at me, he could duck, he could dodge, he could try to grapple me. We're taking a lot of chances going head-to-head. If I go backwards, I allow his momentum, his psychological momentum, to continue forward with kicks and punches. If I go off to this side, this is all well and good, but going off to his left diagonal is ideal for reasons that I'd like to go into in more detail. I'm going to utilize a hand technique here, and we're going to go back to the push just so I can get my point across. Now, a 2-handed push comes out at me, and what I want to do is get off to the left diagonal. I want to get off it in such a way that my chest ends up on his right side, looked at from this direction right here. As he comes toward me with the push, I want to have my chest right shoulder to shoulder, my chest alongside his chest right here. Why is this an ideal position? I've compromised his strongest arm, his right arm. I'm in a particular dachi right now called seizan. Those of you familiar with the Ishin-based arts, shoulder width apart, 1 foot length forward. The seizan dachi enables me to take energy out of this arm. If I ask him to pull me toward him, and he's pretty strong, he can't really move me out of the stance. If I made a mistake and taken a longer dachi stance, like a zenkutsu dachi, and he pulls me out of the stance, I go right into him. So the seizan dachi is ideal. Chamber. Why the chamber? Well, first of all, if I grabbed up here and he pulls, he'll pull me right into him. Interestingly, when I have him down on my hip, he can't do that. Most people are familiar with the chambers at the side. In fact, there's quite a few chambers, both back and front chambers. And these are generally rotations of the arm while holding another person. It's showing me how I want to be grabbing that particular individual. So that push comes in, I go up and I immobilize his arm. Now let's take a different idea about punching. We mostly think of striking something like this. An attack comes, we drop back, we throw out a strike to the body. What we're going to do now is we're going to cut off to that diagonal, that slip-stepping diagonal. And we're going to do the block like this. There's a middle block, very common middle block. I've extended his arm out. And then, of course, there's generally the drawback followed by the punch. Now, when it's put in this perspective, it looks very different because now the punch is coming out under the arm. Or if you're one of those individuals that learns the full punch right here, you see what's happening to the elbow. The elbow is getting controlled. Control of the elbow gives me control of the left side of his body. If the punch comes out, and I come over here like this, and I control the elbow, and this individual tries to throw a strike at me, I can prevent that strike from coming around. If he's trying to reach around to grab me, I can prevent that grab from taking place simply by lifting the arm up. When I'm head on to him, let's say we've gone to the push, the problem here is if I let go of this hand, he can strike me with his hand, and he can get a pretty good strike out. If I'm over here, I gain just a little bit of time because distance is time. So when I'm off to the side, I've gained some time, and also if he tries to come across the body, if I need to, I can just move out of the way of this punch here. And he doesn't really have much here. If he tries to punch me in the ribs, I just have my arm drop down. Once again, come toward me. Okay, the second thing is, not only am I controlling the left side of his body, but I'm also controlling his legs. Now, when I say this to students, they look at me and say, but you haven't controlled the legs at all. He's free to do any kind of kick or knee strike right here. And I say, well, that's absolutely not true. If I hold on to this arm and he tries to do any type of kick, I can simply pin his foot to the ground. He can't get a kick off unless he can lift that leg up, and he can't lift that leg up with this downward pressure right here. This is a very functional movement right here. And we're looking for a tactical conclusion to an unknown assault. We don't know what he's going to do. It could be a kick, it could be a punch, it could be a push, it could be a grapple. So we want something simple. And the slip step allows me that simple movement right here. No matter what position I start from, I slip step forward. Now, why didn't I slip step over to the opposite side? I mean, I could certainly go and do a move like this here. Well, I've got him. I'm in a good stance. He can't pull me out of the stance. But the problem is, I let him have his strongest technique right here, and I've just used my strong side to immobilize his left, but now I'm left with my weaker side to deal with his strongest side. Not a good trade-off. We want to cut to the left because most people, 95% of the public, is right-handed, so going to the right side is the appropriate side to go to. The push comes out. There are so many things that can be done from this position now that you're in control. It's all about control. I want to control him to either grapple with him and put him in a lock, or I want to control him to strike him to end this assault. In this position, I have plenty of options to come around and lock him up, strike him if necessary, knee him if necessary, takedowns if necessary. Something as basic, something as benign as a simple movement forward, when directed to the appropriate angle, can neutralize a wide range of techniques. Thanks.